Hey there, this is David from Penny University giving a shout out to our Patriots down in Connecticut who are still holding out. I've got a video clip for you from Aaron Weiss from a town meeting, who is a former Iraqi war vet and a law enforcement officer. And he had some pretty interesting things to say about this new law. Take a look at this video clip.
Hello, my name is Aaron Weiss and I live in the town of Poughkeepsie. I'm a combat veteran of Iraq and I'm also a law enforcement officer. I attended the Public Safety Committee's last meeting in regards to this resolution, but I didn't say anything because I wanted to hear what everyone else had to say. And I heard some shocking things from some people and some legislators. They said that it took a lot of courage to pass this SAFE Act. Apparently my definition of courage differs from yours. You see, if it was really so courageous a bill and it took so much courage to pass it, then why was it done in the middle of the night when no one could see it or read it? That's not courage. That's a mafia-style sit-down to divvy up what's good for the bosses. Courage is taking the right and true course of action, not the politically expedient one. And anyone who is proud of this law must also be proud of the Patriot Act, the TSA, imprisoning Japanese citizens in World War II, since all these actions were spurred on by emotional fear and rammed through in the name of public safety. Another issue is the insistence of certain people to stand on the graves of dead children and challenge those that disagree to say it to the parents' faces. Well, I, for one, will pick up that gauntlet. First off, why is dead children your battle cry? You didn't say anything about the hundreds of Chicago children being killed, and for some reason you only scream when it happens to wealthy white ones. And yes, I will say to anyone's face, my right is more important than your dead, because I fought for it firsthand. I washed the blood of my friends out of my Humvee, and I picked up their mangled bodies, and I fought day in and day out. I did more things that you people can't imagine. So yeah, my right trumps your dead. I earned it in blood. I gave up a lot for this country, including my youth, and better men than me gave up a whole lot more, so that all you, myself included, could enjoy the rights that are guaranteed to us in our Constitution and Bill of Rights. And we didn't go through all that to come back home and watch the surrender of what we fought for happen based on the demented actions of a couple madmen. So in closing, I would like to address specifically the legislators we all know who are going to vote against this resolution. I understand you will vote against this resolution based on some misguided sense of the public good. However, as a law enforcement officer, I'm curious to know about your true resolve. Since voting to take away someone's rights is totally different than being asked to enforce it, I want you to consider this. If you support the SAFE Act so wholeheartedly, are you willing to stand with law enforcement members and lead from the front to enforcement? And what I mean by that is, if a constituent of yours feels so alienated by this law and the manner in which it was passed that they refuse to comply with it, are you willing to stack up on their front door and go in first? I bet if a clause was in this bill that required you, the elected leadership, our elected leaders, to go in the door first, I bet you would not be so steadfast.
Can we have some quiet in the chambers, please, so we can continue on?
Good for you, Aaron, and God bless you, and God bless the people that are holding out against an unconstitutional law down there in Connecticut and in other places, because they're trying some other things. Like Maryland now has popped up in the news about possibility of door-to-door searches, and Canada now with the Mounties trying to restrict people on hunting rifles. Come on. Aaron makes a lot of really good points here, and most importantly, lawmakers who made a decision to try to keep their jobs, and lawmakers who made a decision that they don't have the balls to enforce. As he pointed out, I'm not going to see you out on the front line trying to get weapons away from people. You're going to make people like Aaron do it. Aaron's the one that's going to have to go door to door and basically strip these people of their rights and their dignity. If he does it, I'd be interested to see whether a lot of law enforcement would be willing to follow through with these orders. I got to tell you, I'm living in Kansas right now, and I've talked to law enforcement officers, and I even got pulled over once, and this is actually the best example. I got pulled over once, and I gave him my license, and I have a carrier's permit, so I have to give my permit and my license at the same time and let them know I'm required to show both. And he says, "Are you carrying?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am." And he says, "You know what? I'm glad you are. I know it's not very PC of me to say that, but I'm glad that you're carrying right now, because, we're only 3 minutes away most of the time, but man, that's 3 minutes and anything could happen. It's a lot of us are behind responsible citizens being armed. That's a law enforcement officer talking to me. And Aaron Weiss sounds like the same kind of guy. You know, if you haven't done anything wrong, there's no reason you should be persecuted because of something that a minority of people did. Some idiot who wants to commit a crime, or some idiot that wants to hurt people, or somebody who's mentally ill that wants to hurt people. That is a small fraction of the population, and what they're doing is punishing everybody else for it. And it's really just an excuse to take away some of your power. The reason that we were given the right to bear arms in the first place in the Constitution is because the right to bear arms is what created America in the first place. Revolutionary War wouldn't have happened if the citizens did not have access to weapons. They would have been slaughtered. They would have been slaughtered and turned over and gave up because they would not have been able to fight back. And our founding fathers wanted to make sure that if anything ever went wrong again, that we would be able to fight back, defend ourselves for whatever reason, even against our government. God forbid, but you never know. And so Aaron Weiss very eloquently put, and I really appreciate your speech.